gods and goddesses. I am fairy goddess Cody, and I am here with Mel from Divine Feminine Works. And today we want to talk about the lunar eclipse in Pisces happening at 15 degrees. And it's happening on the North Node. So the North Node is currently in Pisces. So this is going to be a huge one. September 7th, 2025. Mark your calendars.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Miss Soul to Soul by Goddess.
Hey.
I'm so excited to be doing this video with you on this lunar eclipse in Pisces. I really think that it's going to be, all eclipses are intense, but this one has this element of fate, expansion, and all the goodness. So I'm really glad that we're talking about this and teaching everyone what exactly they can expect, right? So I guess let's begin at the beginning. Do you want to talk a little bit about Pisces energy generally? Since this is sort of where everything is going down.
Oh man, like Mel said, this is definitely going to be life changing. And I think that this is an eclipse that is fated, but it also lets go of these karmic loops and entanglement. Pisces energy is like the subconscious realm. It is the deepest form of like our divinity or our connection to God or the cosmos or whichever you believe in. And there's a major soul growth moment, but there's also like a major push, testing our faith, testing our belief in the higher realms or the cosmos or divine timing or just testing our faith in our own like spirit. And I think this one is deeply karmatic, but it's also deeply life changing, and it shifts you into a more soul aligned path, but one that you could be expecting. But this is definitely like driven by your um highest and deepest alignment. So like this Pisces energy, and also the it being on the south, it being on the North Node, this is about these revelations and these past versions or experiences that we cling to that help us feel safe, even though it keeps us in traps and it keeps us in states of addiction and states of looking. Well, the Pisces is the unseen realm. It's like what you can't see, but doing what we have to do for survival or self-sacrificing ourselves in order to it's like sacrificing yourself in order to stay in one place. And the Pisces energy is like flowing. It's a deep, like this deep ocean that it can take you anywhere if you just believe hard enough. So this
So
is
true.
one that is just, if you're misaligned in any type of energy, this eclipse is going to get you realigned and back into who you actually are. And there's no going back, because like I said, Pisces is the past. It's a closure. This is a closure.
Right, exactly. It's very much like a full circle moment, especially because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So I know that in astrology they often call Pisces like the dustpan of the zodiac, because all of the signs, like by the time you get to Pisces, it's like it's got a little bit of everything. And so it's
Mhm.
all like we're at the very end of this really long cycle, and it's this wrapping up, but in a way that's so profound and beautiful because it's an eclipse and because it is, conjunct the North Node, right? And for those who maybe aren't so much aware, when we talk about an eclipse, eclipses have to do with the nodes of the moon. The nodes
Mhm.
aren't a planet or a place. They're more of like a calculation, like a point in the sky. And rather than being something really technical, they're symbolic. They're very spiritual. And the North Node, excuse me, which is in Pisces currently, and which is sort of the star of the show with this lunar eclipse in Pisces. It's about our destiny. It's about where we're headed. I like to think of the North Node as like the shoes that you have to fill when you first encounter your North Node, or when you first become aware of your North Node. It often can feel misaligned. It can feel like it doesn't make sense. It could feel like the biggest shoes you have to fill, and it's very much about like your destiny, right? So it can feel very grand and overwhelming. And throughout your life, it's almost like everything is sort of guiding you and moving you toward this point. And the fact that we have a lunar eclipse at this point, it's sort of wrapping up a cycle in our life and simultaneously opening a door to a whole new trajectory, a whole new path, a whole new prophecy. And lunar eclipses happen at the full moon. So full moons illuminate. So oftentimes we could find ourselves saying, well, I don't know what my purpose is, or I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. The one thing I'll say about this full moon, this lunar eclipse in Pisces, is that you will want to really observe what's going on, because it's going to be the universe's way of giving you a sign, a signal, or something of the sort to let you know what path you're on, what path you should be on. The amount of information and the amount of enlightenment that this particular full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces is going to give, it's going to be unmatched. So it's one of those times of the year where you really want to pay attention. You want to be present and you want to soak up everything that the universe is trying to show you at this time. So it's really, really, really profound. So it's also going to be trying to Jupiter. So talk a little bit about what that means, because that's heavy.
Hmm. Well, I mean, Jupiter is currently in Cancer. It's exalted. So that means, I mean, that's a good, in my opinion, that's a good alignment because Cancer, Pisces, they're both water signs and they're both, linked to our emotional intelligence and what we like value in our mind, most importantly, and these memories and subconscious. I think that, and also like Jupiter ruling Pisces, I think that this is truly just surrendering to your highest form or your highest calling, and just this psychic awakening, but also like paying attention to your dreams and like the unseen realms and like spirits and writing and just so many different things that we don't pay attention to on a daily basis, but you become more aware of this calling. And like Mel said, this is something that we often question: what are we here for, what are we calling? And here they're screaming, and it's just up to us for like it's just up to us to listen to this Pisces energy. And Jupiter standing for like deep knowledge and spiritual awakenings, us being open, and deeply vulnerable and ready to surrender. And it can only take you into a higher path. Jupiter is, the benefic, and it's taking us into a higher path and just pointing us towards our next chapter, but a greater chapter. Cancer and Pisces, it being like water signs, I really think that it takes us to this higher form of emotional intelligence, one that's greater for us, one that doesn't control us, but it kind of makes us sit back and think and understand that emotions are actually indicators. They tell us things. They can reveal things to us that we didn't know before. And this is a form of like a mystical identity, or waking up a mystical identity to a healing path. So yeah, what do you think about that, Mel? That's a
Oh
pretty
yeah, that was spot on. Like that's so emblematic of that Jupiter energy. And like you said, it's like it's a higher level of consciousness that we're being awakened to at this time, right? And I just realized that Jupiter is one of the ruling planets of Pisces. And so, with Jupiter being one of the ruling planets of Pisces, plus it's in Cancer and exalted, it just makes me think of like big feelings, like huge awakenings, this feeling of expansiveness that probably so many of us haven't felt in a very long time. And so the potency of the energy of this lunar eclipse is going to be magnificent. And the thing with Pisces energy is that Pisces Pisces is no stranger to big feelings, but when things become overwhelming, people tend to want to escape. right? Pisces wants to escape when things get too intense, too overwhelming. And so, one of the things I'll say in terms of how to work with this energy at this lunar eclipse is try not to engage in anything that really takes you away from where the universe is trying to take you, in the sense that often when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel like it's too much, we can turn to addictive behaviors, we can turn to distractions that don't allow us to really be present. And so expect bigness, expect a lot, expect big feelings, but it's all a part of the process. And being able to ride the wave literally and figuratively is going to be a thing, because Jupiter is in Cancer, a water sign. This is happening in Pisces, a water sign. So whatever you're feeling, allow yourself to feel it, allow yourself to process these emotions, and understand that whatever transpires at this full moon, it's taking you someplace, a place where perhaps you've never been before, or a place that feels daunting, it feels overwhelming. But it's really important that you stay the course, because as one cycle closes, another is simultaneously opening, and everything is just trying to get you to where you need to be. So I think that's one of the most important pieces of advice that I would give concerning this eclipse in Pisces. So what else do you have to say about this energy?
Disagree with you and say that it's true. Like, if you've been avoiding this higher path, or if you're not open to it, I think that the universe, or God, or the mystical forces of Pisces is gonna shake and take away that safety net that we all think that we have. Whatever you want to indulge in or escape upon, it isn't going to do it. It's not gonna do it for you or I or any of us anymore. We have to truly find what makes us us, and what brings us this like higher combination of calling. Like this, like Pisces energy is just something that you can't explain. It's truly like something you want to
Right.
hide from and survive it. It's just this inner world, but you have to be open to this inner world and this higher knowledge, because it's just, if you have a safety net, it's going to be taken away from you. Yeah.
That is such a good point. And that can again contribute to the feelings of overwhelm, and the feelings of, when we're talking about our purpose, that is something that often feels larger than us. It feels scary, but this energy is so beautiful, and it's just really again pointing us to where we need to be, right? So, is there anything else you want to add about the energy generally and the astrology before we get into what each sign can expect?
um No, that's just about it. I mean, actually, Saturn is going to be making its way back into Pisces at the critical degree. I mean, that's a whole nother story, but Saturn there is kind of coming back to clear up whatever needs to be, like whatever needs to stay upon the identity or the evolution of the Pisces placement, the Pisces house. This is making it real, and it's making this, the doors closed, there's no more opening it, you can't bang it down, you have to walk through those other doors. And so, yeah, that's it. This is a special one, I really think. Well, this is going to be life.
It is. It is. And that's such a great point about how Saturn is making it real, which is helpful because all of that water energy and even Pisces, being co ruled by Neptune, it's fantasy, right? Like, because often when we think about our purpose, it feels, or often we think of it as something that's out of our reach, or something that
Mhm.
we have to work toward. But you're so right. Saturn is going to make it tangible and make it real, which allows us to grasp it, which allows us to work toward it, which allows us, or which is going to allow us to structure around it. So again, like you said, this is going to be a good one. It's going to be a really good one. So I'm excited. I don't know about you, but I definitely think this is going to be great.
I'm ready. I'm surrender. I'm at full surrender to
And
Pisces.
yes, and that's such a great point as well. And we were talking right before we hit record about how, eclipses are the time where you kind of just don't do anything and you kind of just let the universe do its thing. And that's so like emblematic of Pisces energy, also being that last sign of the zodiac, and it rules spirituality. And
Mm-hmm.
the crux of spirituality is surrender. So this is one of those situations where, like, don't fight it, don't escape it. It's going to be really real. Just lean into it, accept it, surrender. And, God, the universe, your spirit team, your guardian angels, like, they're the ones who are going to be rallying around you during this time to help move you forward. So you kind
Absolutely.
of just got to let it happen.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, talk about. I mean, we also said we could talk about this for hours, but just
Yes.
talk about numbers, spirit guides, gods, goddesses, every type of mystical force, fantasy world that you can dream about, your dream world. Pay attention to that, write it down, and there's all types of things that you're gonna experience that you're gonna be like, it couldn't be a human doing this for me. Like, it had to be this bigger picture, it had to be these bigger forces working for me. Like, I mean, Pisces is just more than we can even believe. More than
Yes.
we can find.
That is so
Yeah.
true. So true. All right. So let's get into what each sign can expect. So, do you want to kick things off?
Yes, I mean, Aries, this is happening in your natal 12th house, and I think that Aries are going to feel Aries are going to have a lot of different changes. Of course, it depends on your degree, the aspects that it's making, but an eclipse in the 12th house, um, this brings a lot of faded endings. I think this brings a lot of like karmic closures. It brings these deep spiritual awakenings, but also this surrender to the ego. In the 12th house, there is no ego. And I think that, with Saturn in your sign, or Saturn, in your sign, going between the 12th and the first house, whatever addictions that you have, whatever escape tendencies that you have, they're all going to be revealed. Any lies or secrets and things that you run away to, it's going to be revealed to you. And a lot of events can happen. I think that, there's a lot of things that can happen, but I think that your dreams are going to tell you exactly what you need to know, what you need to hear. These are dreams about prophecies. These are like very vivid breakdowns about what you're running away from, what needs to be revealed, what there's just so much revealing, Aries, that I think that you're going to come out and it's like extremely different person when Saturn's done with you. When Neptune, that's going to be a long time, but when Saturn's done with you, you're not going to be able to hide who you are anymore. And I think that you're going to want to spend a lot of time in isolation, Aries. A lot of time healing. You can get into some healing practices. I think meditation is good. Reiki is great. Anything that has to do with healing the energetics, Aries, please do that. It's going to help you through this release. This is an emotional release. This is a psychic release. But also, like, on the greatest side, Aries, I think that so many gifts are being awakened for you. As I said, Pisces is the ones that we can't believe, our psychic tendencies. Anything that has to do with healing, anything that has to do with ritual, like Pisces is on it, and it being on the North Node as well. These are destined changes, but they feel so beautiful. And just it, like, these gifts come to you effortlessly after the release. You feel more in tune to your divine self. You feel more in tune to God. And I think there's no more denying what needs to be released and what is awakening for you, Aries. What do you think, Mel?
Well said. I have nothing to add to that. It's gonna be one of those things for Aries where a lot, and all of this may be happening, subconsciously. So it's not necessarily going to be at the forefront of your thoughts. So I think for Aries especially, it's going to be really important to surrender, because it's almost like your spirit team is handling everything for you. You kind of just have to tap into that. And then from there, once the dust settles with the eclipse, you'll start to see the changes that your spirit team has been facilitating in your reality. going forward.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And I mean, on to Taurus. You want to handle Taurus?
Sure.
Yeah.
So for Taurus, this lunar eclipse is happening in your 11th house. And the 11th house covers friendship, it covers your associations, it also covers your ambitions and your dreams. And with Pisces being ruled by Neptune and Jupiter being trine to this lunar eclipse, this is one of those moments where you might feel overwhelmed because the universe may show you this dream, or you're going to have this download of this ambition that's just going to feel so much larger than life. This is one of those things where, and I'm a Taurus rising, so this directly affects me. And I don't know about anyone else, but I know that sometimes when I think about the things that I want to accomplish, or when I even receive downloads of sort of what my purpose is, a lot of times I start to cry because it just feels so big. It feels so beautiful. Sometimes it brings up emotions of, am I worthy? Or this is a lot. Am I supposed to be doing this? But you're meant for greatness, and that greatness will likely be revealed to you at this lunar eclipse. But it's also very important to understand that as this greatness is being revealed to you, it's going to require you to close certain doors. And some of the doors may be the people that you associate with, right? It could be friends, right, that you've had for a long time, yet maybe they're not meant to come into this chapter with you. Simultaneously, the universe may be, positioning you to meet new people, to really open you up to friendship that is so much more than superficial, friendship that is spiritual, that has this subconscious sort of um I don't want to say binding, but that's the word that's coming, like bond, not bind, bond, where now you're meeting soul family. Now you're meeting your soul groups. And now you're meeting the people who can help facilitate this awesome responsibility, this awesome, you know, purpose that is being illuminated for you at this time. So your intuition is going to be your best friend with this, right? And your intuition may be speaking to you about your best friend at this time, whether they're meant to come on this journey with you or not. But don't ignore how you feel, especially when it comes to what you're being shown, because your ambition is widening, your vantage point is becoming a lot broader. And the 11th house also is the house, it's also known as the house of gains. And so this may also be a time where you get the fruits of your labor. This may be the time when all of the work that you've done, whether it's spiritual, whether it's physical, you're reaping the rewards at this time. So this could be a really important time for you in terms of feeling good, feeling accomplished, right? Could also be a time where, okay, I got to close some of these doors. Perhaps some of these friendships I need to either revamp or sort of put them to the side. But you have this pathway. Like right now, I'm being shown, like when you're on the plane and it's about to take off and it's looking at that runway, right? Like that could be how this feels for you. It feels like, all right, you're about to take off, you're about to soar. And I want you to take in the enormity of this purpose, this ambition, this goal that you're about to embark upon. So, yeah, that's essentially what Taurus can expect with this eclipse.
Yeah, I think that Tauruses are going to reach a goal. And, this could be a long time goal because of the 11th house, is our wishes, our dreams. And I think that this is them reaching a goal or seeing this really large vision or something that is revealed to them or awakened within them. And they realize that the friends or the people, the groups that they're around no longer can fit this vision if they really want to get to this vision. And I do think that it's such a large, like, beautiful vision that they can't deny. They know that they want that vision, but they know that they have to adjust and I wouldn't say change so much, but it's more like align to that vision because they're going to be revealed, like different, Pisces is just so crazy, the energy, but like you meet different people and then you're like, yes, that's what I want. They reveal this deepest part of you that's private, but you know that you want to get there, and you just start to realize your soul tribe and where you're being pulled towards. And sometimes you have to let go of friends and certain groups, but this vision is definitely reachable, Taurus. Melissa, you too, since you're a Taurus rising, that's so funny. I was like, you take over Taurus, and you're a Taurus rising. You outgrow some things, but the vision is there, and your soul tribe is helping you get there, and it's just something you can't deny.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Cool. So do you want to tackle Gemini?
Oh, sure, Gemini. So, Gemini rising. This eclipse is happening in their natal 10th house of image, of your life path, of this public authority. And I think that careers and their life paths will definitely shift. They could either rise, they can either be recognized, they can resign, they can change, they can change to a more faith line, faith faith like a path, something they truly believe in or they're emotionally entangled with. Um, they can have this public recognition maybe that happens overnight. With especially with the trying to Jupiter, something can just expand for them. But I feel as though if Gemini's heart was in the right place when it comes to choosing career, or when it comes to their you know their level of leadership, they'll find a spark in this. They'll find more, what do you call that, more eyes on them, or more doors to open, or something like that. And they can have something where I call aligned work, but it's really like they're coming to a soul truth about what they should do with their career, or changing their career. This really has to do a lot with their career, and aligning more emotionally, or aligning more faith like to what actually matters to them. I think that's going to take them the furthest, and they can have recognition with it, whatever they're trying to do. But Gemini is that sign of the mental mind, and everything is always just, the conversation, the mental formats that they have is so big. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, with this eclipse, that's not going to really cut it. You have to really have faith in yourself and really believe in this vision in order to be recognized for something. And you have to be tied to it, or issues can arise, whether it has to do with home or family or the mother or the children. You have to be honest with yourself, because this is a soul aligned career path that you're headed down. And you have to be honest about it. What do you
Mhm.
think?
Yeah, no, definitely. The thing that I was going to say that you touched upon is that Gemini is so mental, right? And with Gemini rising, this eclipse is happening in your natal 10th house, which is square to your natal first house. So this eclipse will likely feel slightly uncomfortable because it's going to require you to get out of your head and into your heart and into your emotions. So
Mm.
try not to rationalize what's happening. Whatever you're being shown, whatever is changing, this is of the spiritual realm. So trying to make logical sense of it, trying to have scientific proof or evidence, it's just going to frustrate you even more. So you really have to surrender. You really just have to say, you know what? Cool. I'm not going to overthink this, even though I know that's difficult. I'm a Virgo sun, so I'm ruled by Mercury. So I know what it's like to overthink, right? But you kind of just have to say, all right, God, universe, I give this to you. And whatever transpires is what transpires, right? But what I love about that Gemini energy is that it can be very observant. Like it can be very curious. It can be very researchy, right? And so I feel like if you tap into that curiosity and try to keep that overthinking over there, right? Like try to keep it at bay. I feel like that curiosity is what's going to help you surrender. when you start seeing the signs, when you start seeing the synchronicities, lean into that and say, all right, God, I see you. I hear you. I see you try to show me something, and just allow, right? But you're absolutely right that that mental capacity, it could really, I don't want to say hinder this process, but it's not going to feel natural to you because of the fact that you guys are so mental and this is very emotional. So lean into your emotions and allow them to do what they need to do.
Mm-hmm. Can't, yeah, you can't rationalize this one, Gemini. Sorry. What do you think about Cancer? I mean, I'm happy for the water signs. I feel like they get a cute little growth spurt. What do you think about Cancer?
That's a perfect way to describe it. I like that. A growth spurt. Yeah. So everything about this eclipse for Cancer is about expansion. And it's going to happen in a way that, I'll put it this way. It's like you are embarking on a whole new adventure. So it could kind of feel like, um I wouldn't necessarily say transformative, but it could feel like you version 2.0, but on like a higher level. So it's sort of like this is happening in your ninth house, and the ninth house is the house of expansion. It's the house of higher education, long distance travel. It's the house where life experience gets to show you new things. And so the ninth house comes after the eighth house, right? The eighth house is the house of transformation. So think of the eighth house as like the cocoon or the chrysalis that the caterpillar is in. And when you get to the ninth house, now you're the butterfly. So whereas before your vantage point was on the ground, right? Because you're a caterpillar. But now as a butterfly, you're flying. You see differently. You are different. And I feel like this new butterfly kind of identity or this butterfly energy is really what this lunar eclipse is going to show you. It's perhaps you've been in a place where you've been sort of in a cocoon for a while, or you've been dealing with things. And now the universe is like, I want to show you everything you've been missing. I want to show you everything that you've never seen before. It's really important that Cancer stays open and stays curious and stays wanting to learn, wanting to experience, right? Everything about this eclipse wants to take you to a higher level of consciousness. And your intuition is going to guide you there. I mean, you guys are super intuitive anyway. So that I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say that, but it's this new adventure that you're about to embark on. And it may take you literally to a far off place. Like perhaps there's a move, perhaps there's this enlightenment that says, okay, I need to move here. I mean, given the current climate of the United States, I can see some of you maybe be like, all right, it's time to get out of here. It's time for me to move abroad. For others of you, this may be just a wanderlust that really makes you want to start experiencing new places, taking new trips. Everything about, if I had to sum up this eclipse in one word for you, it would be new. Like this newness, this new energy, this new vantage point. So be open to it, and allow the current to take you wherever it's going to take you, because you're really literally embarking on a new adventure. Anything to add?
Well, yeah, I mean, the ninth house, Cancer, for you is the house of your higher self. And it being in Pisces, you're already aware of this, or you just being a water sign, as Mel says, you are already in tune with your intuition, this higher force, the guidance, that we can, like, where our intuition can actually take us, bad or good. But in this sense, you are in direct communication, Cancer, with your higher self. And there's no way that she or he can misguide you. Like, this is, like Mel said, a travel place. You can want to learn something new. You could take a class. You can just find yourself in these new experiences where you can't deny yourself anymore, or what you believe in, or if it needs to be adjusted even, because what we believe in really takes us places in this life, especially when we're dealing with the ninth house. When we build these systems on, Cancer, that it can take us far or it can hold us back. And I think you're now bursting out. Well, I mean, not even bursting out. You're just expanding in this way. You know, as Mel says, you're just expanding in this way and open to new experiences, new people, new places, new things, new food, you know, even writing, even just experiencing life. And the ninth house, as I said, it's these lived experiences, and these can be very meaningful for our development. And I think that is very impactful for you, you know, with Jupiter being in your sign, it can teach you a lot and can turn a lot of these experiences into sacred knowledge. So yes, Cancer. Is this
Yeah. Cancer is going to get a serious glow up with this particular eclipse.
absolutely, yeah.
Definitely. All right. So next up is Leo, right? So for Leo, this full moon is likely going to feel really intense because it is happening in your eighth house of transformation. Okay. This is especially when we talked about earlier Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac and how this eclipse is sort of wrapping things up. This is wrapping up probably a very major chapter in your life. And it's urging you to move forward into this whole new chapter. But here's the thing, this moving forward, it's going to be very spiritual. It's going to be very now, being a fire sign, you guys have the energy of passion and of action. But Pisces is not an active kind of sign. Pisces is very surrender. It's go with the flow. It's like if you're at a water park and you are just floating on the lazy river, right? That is how you have to sort of approach this transformation. It's happening from the inside out, and you kind of just have to let it. You kind of have to resist the urge to want to do the most. This isn't a time to be external. This is a time to really focus within, because it's sort of that last push before you make your entrance or re-entrance into the world again. And so it's going to require surrender, going with the flow, and sort of understanding your place in the bigger picture. You know, with eclipses, and especially being, you know, conjunct the North Node, it's like understanding the puzzle piece as it fits within the puzzle. You know, Leo has very much main character energy, which we all love and is all very necessary, but understanding the bigger sort of purpose of that main character energy, right? It's like, this isn't just a play about me and I am the star of the show. Perhaps this show is happening to teach somebody something, or perhaps whatever I have to say within this play is literally here to help someone or guide someone, right? So there is this switch in vantage point from you and what's going on with you to the bigger picture. That's the expansiveness that I think Jupiter wants to transform within you at this eclipse. So, what do you think about
Well, yes. I mean, Melissa, as a Leo sun, I love when you say main character energy.
that?
But I think that Leo, you know, with rising, with this happening in your natal eighth house, this like talk about this psychic purge or these near death experiences or these cutting of the ties of the this karmic loop that we keep finding ourselves in, and things of that nature. You know, when we deal with the eighth house, we're going deep. We're going deep into things that people don't normally want to talk about on a day-to-day basis, or they don't want to talk about at the dinner table. As I always say, they want to, hide their hand. This is trauma. This is sexual trauma, even, and these experiences that come to light are not always easy to deal with, but because you are ruled by the sun and you have this sacred radiance about you, it's truly about how you're giving that out and where it goes and who it belongs to. Because the eighth house is a house of emotion. It's the house of, like, our psychology, and where we let our mind wander, and the depths of humanity, I like to say, because it's some dark things that happen in eighth house that nobody wants to talk about, but you are deeply cutting the ties to that. You are surrendering these soul ties to trauma, or these soul ties to things that don't need you and you don't need it, Leo. And it can have a lot of things surfacing in order for you to heal it. There can be money shifts too. This also shared resources and inheritance. There can be like these sudden and overwhelming shifts when it comes to monies or debts, or just even when it comes to the psychic mind. I mean, there's a purge going on, and you will have to purge through some type of release. And I think crying, Leo, I feel you. I think, some crying is gonna happen, but ultimately your light is so sacred, and you have to understand that wherever you're putting it, sometimes it can be siphoned from you, because this is also the house of obsession. And sometimes we have this obsession with being like and doing for others, and putting ourselves aside and sacrificing our own development in body, even our own organs being in the eighth house, things that actually belong to us, we don't have to share, just to keep the peace, or to have some type of connection. Leo, you must have compassion with yourself and take care of yourself during this time. And sometimes that means just understanding the trauma, seeing the trauma, and being willing, to heal it, and being willing to move forward as well. Because, as I said, our light is very sacred.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Very well said. Very well said. And so next would be Virgo, right? So Virgo, this is happening in your seventh house of relationships, right? This is the house that everyone typically is concerned about, right? Now, it could be personal relationships, it could be business relationships. However, the dichotomy between where this eclipse is happening and your natal first house, it's opposite your natal first house. And so there is this tug of war that you may be feeling with this eclipse when it comes to you and your identity and your autonomy versus your relationships. Now, Virgo energy is pretty self sufficient. Virgo energy is able to do it. They're practical, dependable, right? A lot of people depend on you for things. And so, arguably, to a certain extent, you guys love your solitude. You guys are very comfortable within yourselves for the most part. Everything that this eclipse is trying to do for you is trying to open you up to relationships, and perhaps not in the way that you're used to. This is about faith. This is about a lack of structure, right? Because Pisces is very unstructured, and not in a bad way. But Pisces understands the flow and the connectedness of everything. And this eclipse wants you to be connected. It wants you to be partnered up. It wants you to understand that maybe it's okay for you to depend on other people. I know. I'm a Virgo sun. I know that depending on other people, it's scary. Or you're just like, why would I do that when I can just do it myself? Right. But we all are connected. No man is an island, as much as you would like it to be that way. And everything about this eclipse wants you to open up to a greater, higher level of love, right? Which has no definitions, which isn't tangible, which isn't fitting in this neat box that you can put on a shelf somewhere. This is going to show you the less tidy side of relationships, how they fit into your life and how they can be so beautiful. Now, it's going to require you to expand a little bit because, again, Jupiter is playing a role in this. So, this is something that you're probably going to have to grow into and get comfortable with. This is also simultaneously wrapping up a cycle, right? Perhaps wrapping up a karmic cycle where you were hyper independent or you were very much about the structure and the tangibility of relationships. When everything about this eclipse wants you to open up to the beauty, the messiness, and the spiritual nature of relationships as well. Everything is not meant to be quantified, everything is not meant to be evidence based. This is going to require you to tap into levels that either you haven't or haven't in a long time or are uncomfortable with. But deep down inside, when it comes to relationships, with Pisces being your seventh house, you want that messiness. You want that spiritual bond. That's sort of how you're designed. And everything about this eclipse is going to illuminate that for you. On another level, because it's a full moon, right? That's why it's a lunar eclipse. This could have you taking a relationship to a next level. Maybe now you are literally merging with somebody. Maybe you're getting married. Maybe there is a certain demarcation that's happening in your relationship that can take it to the next level. So this is going to feel very intense, number one. But because this is happening opposite to you, this is going to be sort of like I said before, a tug of war. And the best way to deal with oppositions, particularly when we have like a full moon or any other sort of astrological event that's opposite to our natal sun or our natal rising sign, is you have to find a happy medium. You have to find balance, right? And this full moon lunar eclipse is going to show you the way and perhaps show you how to do that. What do you think?
Well, I mean, like Virgo is such like having Virgo as a rising sign and Pisces as your seventh house, like this, they attract lovers that want to love them for a lifetime, right? But sometimes it feels like a burden. And I think that as this lunar eclipse goes on, this, trine that we have to Jupiter, it just expands this image of, is this a burden type relationship? Like, is this a karmic entanglement? It brings this, I won't say, of course, Virgo is very analytical, but it brings some type of awareness to, is this a soulmate? Is this a soul tie? There's a lot of questions about relationships because, we're talking about Pisces, what if? But, I think that Virgo are starting to, like, enough bringing on relationships that require you to give your physical health in order for it to work. We are, well, Virgos are now, because I'm a Virgo moon, but Virgos are now understanding like a commitment. Sometimes you have to redefine it. Sometimes Virgo can see things in a conditional way, and Pisces is unconditional. They're like, take whatever I give you. But Virgo has to stand its ground and understand what the universe is trying to show you. Marry this person because they truly love you, and stop criticizing them and stop analyzing them. Or, it's time for you to cut the tie and cut the cord, and someone can leave, but it's for your own freedom. I promise you, Virgo. It's like, bye, thank you, but next. And there's just karmic ties that are severed. There's commitments that are made as well, but based on this everlasting and this what do you call it? This equal exchange, this um because you're talking about the first and the seventh house. You must equally exchange giving, taking, caring, and caregiving. They should be giving the same thing as you. And it calls for releasing relationships that do not serve us and not going back towards exes and things of that nature. But this lunation definitely brings deep clarity around relationships and partnerships, and it mirrors something back to you that you can't ignore and you have to accept. And like I said, Pisces energy is beautiful, beautiful, but can also be burdensome because it wants you to take its lifetime of past karmas and traumas and all of these things. And sometimes it's not healthy. It's not healthy for the Virgo, it's not healthy for the Pisces, and then you have to let it go sometimes. But other times when the other and you are willing to expand, that's the idea here. You can move up in the world. You can really take each other further. So I think it's either a separation of karmic ties or a liberation in some type of sort for Virgos.
Agreed. Definitely. Definitely. All right. So, do you want to talk about Libra?
Libra, this eclipse is happening in your sixth house, of Pisces. And this having the sixth house activated can activate your daily routines, your rituals that you do on a day-to-day basis. We know that what we do in a day, it really makes up our life. and you could be leaving a job that just feels toxic. You could be changing the way that you eat, the way that you think, even, or the way that you have formed your lifestyle into being. And there can be a disruption when it comes to like your daily routine if it isn't aligned with something that's going to take you further in life. You know, as I said, you have to do on a day-to-day basis what needs to be done in order for you to get to the next step. So sometimes Pisces require us to rest. They require us to understand that, you know, because the sixth house is like work. So we have to understand where we're reaching these levels of like just doing too much, you know, and sometimes we must rest or we get burnt out. And this new nation is bringing light to that. It's like your body has messages and is doing things that you can't ignore. And your body's really comes like this indicator of, you know, how sacred your health actually is. And I think that Pisces, even when it comes to like walking more or getting up and doing some type of exercising, you know, anything that has to do with moving the body or giving the body what it needs in order to, um, you know, look a certain way or feel a certain way, the sixth house is going to reveal that all to you, you know. And because of this trine to Jupiter, it kind of expands it. It expands it in a way not to hurt you, Libra. It's not trying to hurt you. It's just trying to see if you do more of this, you get more of that. And in the long run, you know, in the long run, what you work towards now is going to lead you towards where you actually need to and you want to go. So this disruption is not meant to like rattle you and shake you, Libra. It's meant to just bring awareness to the patterns that you have on a day-to-day basis. So that right there is awakening a new version of yourself, and a new version of yourself that offers service, but with like this sacred intention. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Definitely. And I love that you highlighted service, right? Because the sixth house is the house of service. And Pisces is a sign of service. So naturally, the way that you're designed is that you are someone who naturally gives selfless service. Now, the fact that you're Libra is that you're always seeking balance. And perhaps this full moon lunar eclipse perhaps will show you maybe where you're giving too much on a daily basis, or where you're just losing yourself when it comes to what you do for others, right? So it could be very enlightening in that way, and how that probably affects your physical health. Like, I'm sure if you're over giving, it's affecting your energy levels, it's affecting how you can show up every day. And this full moon is going to put that all under a spotlight for you to see, so that you can course correct and you can establish that balance that you guys are so good at doing, right? Pisces is also a sign of martyrdom. Okay. It's also perhaps the sign of victimhood. And it's not to say that you guys are martyrs or victims. However, there could be this real, the universe could really be trying to show you the intention behind what you do every day, right? Why are you really doing these things? What is the motivation behind it? And again, with this being a full moon eclipse, I feel like the universe is really going to shine a very bright light on that. And not to shame you or anything like that, but to sort of break the cycle that maybe you've been in. It can be very daunting and very tiring, even physically, if you feel like people are constantly using you, or you're constantly putting out energy and it's not reciprocated, right? Again, you guys are the sign of balance. And so if you're constantly giving and nobody's replenishing your cup, that not only affects you physically, but it affects you morally, emotionally, mentally, right? And this could really be not only the wake up call, but the reset that you need to course correct and to say, okay, like, you have obviously innately and naturally, you have so much to give, right? On a daily basis to whomever you see regularly. But maybe this is the time to say, okay, maybe certain people I don't need to be giving as much. Or maybe I really need to check why I feel the need to overgive or overextend myself. Either way, this is a reset. And the universe wants to do it in a very, I want to say gentle sort of way, because this is happening in Pisces. So this is sort of using your emotions to get you to understand where balance needs to be restored. And when you figure that out, it's almost like the sky's the limit, and Jupiter is then going to expand perhaps who you deal with on a daily basis, or expand and give you an abundance of great health, or maybe just energy, right? It's sort of like calling your energy back to you and immediately feeling the results of that. So essentially, I feel like that's what Libra can expect, right? So next we move on to, oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Beautifully said. You said it better than me, Mel.
Oh, thank
I
you.
love
Thanks. All right. So next up, we've got Scorpio. So what do you think Scorpio is going to encounter with this lunar eclipse?
Scorpio. This eclipse is happening in your fifth house of children, of joy and romance and all of the happy things in life. You know, this is a house of Dharma too. And I mean, you can expect the pregnancy. Oh, what a beautiful thing, right? To expect pregnancy during this eclipse, and just know, just because it's on the north node, and also, you know, it's making a trine to Jupiter, this is such a fated type of pregnancy, or even an interaction with the child. And you know, it just, either an interaction with the child reaches a climax, you know, you learn something, you come to some type of agreement, something is shown to you through the child forces, you know, even your inner child. You know, this is a house of the inner child as well, and being creative. And sometimes we can experience like these creative blocks, you know, because our inner child is, we're keeping our inner child at bay. But for you, this lunation is awakening that for you. If it's been possible, you know, that, you know, Pisces is your fifth house, you're extremely creative and you're extremely aware of, you know, this innocence that the fifth house brings. But even passion in some type of way, and art, and doing things that are just like music and poetry and all the ways that we express ourselves, you know, creatively. And even when it comes to casual dating, because it's the house of the fifth, we you can experience, not, maybe not giving your energy just to quick romances or just fantasy like movie, you know, interaction with people. Maybe you want something deeper, meaningful, where your inner child is actually can express itself well, where it can come out and play. Those are the relationships, you know, Scorpio, that I think that we should be in my opinion, where your inner child is happy and you can play with the next person. They bring out this innocent joy within you. And I think that the lunar eclipse can have you outgrowing these, or even bursting through, Scorpio, these performative masks that we put on to keep other people happy, or just to fakely keep ourselves happy. You know, we're really not happy doing these things, but we do it just because other people expect us to do it, you know. And I think that joy is just being refined after awakening up emotionally. And I think awakening up the innocence of the inner child really comes into play. What do you think about Scorpio, Mel?
Yes, definitely. I love that you highlighted the fact that this could be a very beautiful and fated pregnancy, right? It could also be a conception as well. So it could be a time where perhaps maybe that was something that you didn't think about, contemplate, or didn't think that would happen. And now, and it might not, it might be happening subconsciously, right? It may not be something that's in your face right now, but something that is a beautiful seed that's planted essentially. And that brings up a point that I wanted to make before that I forgot to say. Eclipse energy, it's sort of a slow burn. So we have the eclipse, but oftentimes we may not see the effects of it for up to 6 months. So, especially in a sign like Pisces, that's not only wrapping things up, but that's very spiritual and that rules like our subconscious. It it wouldn't necessarily be the case to expect something big and grand to happen on that day that you can see and that you can perceive. This is something that may be ruminating under the surface, something that's ruminating in the ethers that comes to a climax in the ethers, and you're going to see it play out over the next 6 months. And so for Scorpio, the fifth house is the house of creativity and self expression. And with a lunar eclipse like this, it's almost like the universe is going to hold up a huge mirror and show you perhaps what you've been working on, what you've been birthing for a while, what you've been tinkering with behind the scenes that's really an expression of you. So this could be a creative endeavor that comes to a close, right? Like, imagine that you're like a painter and you've been creating a gallery collection for the last year or so. This full moon lunar eclipse could be when you finally debut your exhibition. And it's everything that you've created, that you've painted, that you've given life to, right? This is also the house of children. So whether this is a conception moment or a birth moment, something really important or pivotal could be happening with your kids if you have them. But ultimately, regardless of whatever transpires at this eclipse, it's going to be joyful. I like to call the fifth house the fun house. This is the house where we don't take life too seriously, where we have entertainment, where we have fun, and where we let our inner child live. And your inner child may be on full display. So play, have fun, and let the universe allow you to be more lighthearted, be more childlike, because it's honestly your inner child that's guiding you toward your north node, toward your north star. So, of all the signs, I guess you guys may have the most fun with this particular eclipse, right?
Hmm.
So next up we've got Sag. So, talk to me about Sag.
So, Sagittarius rising, this is going to be happening in your natal fourth house. And, Sagittarius is a sign that's filled with passion and wisdom and just all of the higher things of life. And an eclipse in the fourth house, I think that, you know, we talk about memories, we talk about secrets, and because, in my opinion, the fourth house is a house of who we are alone. It's our emotional security, our home where we feel safe. And sometimes there are family secrets, or there's things that have to do with our roots or our ancestral traumas or wounds, and those things come to light. It has to do with our childhood, and you can be activating this generational healing. And that's really big to me, Sagittarius, because this makes you a person that is awakened to more wisdom, but you are awakened to things that you have held onto that you didn't know that you've held onto. And this can be unlocking this new emotional intelligence within you. The fourth house is really special to me. It's the base of the chart. It's a very important place. And I think that what's revealed to you can prompt you to move. It can prompt you to find a new home. It can prompt you. This can prompt you to do a lot of things, but I think that it builds a shield around your emotional safety, an understanding of what your ancestors wanted you to do and be here for. There's just a lot of fate and destiny that happens for you, Sagittarius, because you're shifting the family bloodline in some type of way. You're shifting the way that you see your home, or the way that you feel, or the way that you're moved in some type of sense. And generationally, I don't think that I don't like to call them curses, but they are, in my opinion, it's just misguided energy. Your energy is focused on things that it needs to actually focus on this thing. And being a Sagittarius in this lifetime, you are open to new experience of life. You can change your or develop your way that you see life as you experience life. And I think that your roots, start to bring you this net of safety, and it starts to bring you this true intention about what your purpose is when it comes to your family line, or when it comes to what you do behind closed doors. And even when it comes to your childhood, you can have these memories or these really important dreams, or memories that bring you back to your childhood. You ask yourself, why did this happen? And you're like, oh my goodness, why do I keep going through like a loop of this same memory or something like that? And you finally get an understanding of what it means and where it can take you and why you had to go through that. I think that you can just be really moved, Sagittarius, and in the best way possible, where you feel like your ancestors are surrounding you and thanking you, truly for taking on this type of task, Sagittarius. This is not a light one, but it's definitely a profound one that you will feel weights, coming off of your shoulders, and you'll start to really feel the empowerment that our root and ancestry is supposed to give us. What do you think about Sagittarius?
Yeah, exactly. Sagittarius, the one thing I want to say is that this time could feel really heavy for you. Your ruling planet is in your eighth house right now, and it's going to be trying to this full moon lunar eclipse that's in your fourth house. So you are the generational curse breaker right now. And so it's going to feel, it's like, as you were talking, Cody, and as I was thinking about this, I was like, the image that I was getting was like an explorer, right? Someone like Magellan, or someone like from well in the past, right? That was charting a new territory and exploring new lands. Like, I feel like that's the energy that you've been in, and that's going to be highlighted at this full moon. And it's important to understand that your family may not agree with the direction that you're taking for yourself or for your family. There may be some pushback because not only is this happening in your house of home and family, but that house is square to your house, your natal first house. And so this is a clash of identities. This is someone who wants to break from tradition. This is someone who wants to pick up and move the family to a whole new city when perhaps your family and your lineage has been living in a particular city for ages, right? Like, you're the one who's going to lead the pack. You're the one who's going to chart a whole new course. And this isn't just for the sake of family, because with your ruling planet in your eighth house, this is transformation that you need as well. So it's, you're holding the door open for everybody, but you are also going to be stepping through this portal as well. And so everything about your ruling planet wants to expand you. Everything about you is changing right now in a way that's very subtle, because this change is happening in this transformation is happening in your eighth house, and Cancer is a water sign, right? So it's happening with your emotions. And this is the one thing I'll say is that Sagittarius, don't allow your passion or your fervor to make these emotions, it's like you don't want these emotions, these watery emotions, to start to boil and shoot off steam, right? Because this could be kind of an arduous, a very frustrating kind of energy that you're working with. Imagine, family, it's very when I think of Pisces and Pisces in the fourth house, the first word that comes to mind is ancient, right? And so it's this pattern, it's this situation that's been long standing. And here you are sort of coming to disrupt everything, but you're supposed to. And those who need to get on board, they'll get on board eventually, right? But also understand that your ruling planet is exalted where it is right now. So it may give you the upper hand when it comes to family, in the sense that maybe people will be more amenable to the changes that you're making. Or maybe there are other people in your family who are like, you know what, it's time to change this. Like, this tradition makes no sense anymore. Or maybe it is time for us to relocate because we've outgrown where we've been or where we've been living or something like that. But you are leading the charge. So you have a very sort of important role to play. And I feel like this lunar eclipse is really going to highlight that for you.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yep. So next up, we've got Capricorn. So talk to me about Capricorn.
So this Capricorn rising, this lunar eclipse is happening in your natal third house. The third house is the house of our mental formulas, our mind, our skills, and I think that a lot of truth comes to light. And this is also the house of siblings as well. So a lot of truth comes to light. And I think it can come to light amongst, your community, even siblings if you're in contact with them. But something clicks within your mind with this lunar eclipse, and it could like make you want to break down what you actually think about. So we know that we have mental forms that we think about on a day-to-day basis. That's what the third house is, like how our mind is operated to think. And it being in Pisces, it can wander anywhere and everywhere, but it can also stay stuck in this like just giving everyone like these nice words. You're so beautiful, you're this and that, but you don't actually think that about yourself, or you don't put the same compassion in yourself the way that you speak towards others. That's what I mean, right? So it's like, and this can be the house of like cars and even tech and our phones and things of that nature. And I would just say be careful when it comes to like cars, or when it comes to I won't say be careful, but you might have to get an extra look at your car or like your phone or some type of contract that you're making with the next person. I would say get into like writing, and maybe writing out your emotions, writing out what you actually feel. I think that even when like you're speaking to yourself in a mirror, Capricorn, or you could be speaking to someone else, there's this breakthrough in your speech where you start to realize that maybe you're not getting the same energy back whenever you're speaking. We are dealing with Pisces, so Pisces is coming to these revelations where it's unexplainable, but we know. It's like something in us knows something greater is happening, even if no one else can see it. And you can realize how much you actually silence yourself, Capricorn, or silence where the things that you should be saying to yourself on a day-to-day basis. Pick up affirmations and start telling yourself that you are beautiful, you are this, you are that, whatever you desire to be. You can be anything when we're dealing with Pisces, Capricorn. But this old mindset really dies and one rises. And it can even come through like an argument or disagreement with the next person. And because of this, Jupiter being in your seventh house, other people may not agree, but it feels so. I mean, this is a trine, right? But other people may not agree with this new mental formula that you have, but it feels so faded that you're willing to accept the outcome, Capricorn. You're willing to speak nicely to the next person and just let it break down. Not, I mean, I want to say let it break down, but it's like just let it come to its culmination. And it doesn't have to be drastic, it doesn't have to be dramatic. This truly, if it makes you feel fulfilled emotionally some type of way, because you're able to say things that you weren't able to say, you're able to talk to people, you're able to have certain negotiations and contract that you didn't have this confidence to do or say before. And I just want to speak on like Saturn, going in your being in your third house actually gave you a bit of a backbone, these past 3 years, of saying what you actually need to say, what's important, speaking from a place of authority and in honor and integrity. And sometimes when we're with certain people, or we're interacting with our siblings, or we're interacting with our community, it may not always reflect what we truly think on the outside. And that's the thing with Pisces, it's not reflecting. When Pisces isn't seeing what it truly wants to see, the fantasy and garden, that it sees on the inside, it doesn't see that on the outside. It escapes, it retreats, it doesn't say what it wants to say because it's emotionally trying to shut down. So this is a time where it's expanding you and make you feel good about what you say, what you think, and where you let your mind wander. And you should like definitely write these things down. I think it'll make your mind or thoughts flow a little bit more, or like just speak out loud. Like I said, make your own type of affirmations. What do you think about Capricorn?
It's interesting that you kept saying the word breakdown, right? Because as you were saying that, I kept hearing like dissolve. And that's what Pisces does. It can dissolve things. And so with this eclipse, this may be a dissolution of a certain mindset, or maybe even certain beliefs that you have. And I love how you pointed out, the placement of Saturn, which is the ruling planet of Capricorn, and how that's giving you a backbone, right? and how, with that juxtaposition of the seventh house also with, you know, your partnerships and things like that, and how that could, it's almost like you have a new mindset and it's immediately reflected back to you in your relationship. And it could be that your partner doesn't like it, your partner doesn't have the same beliefs, but Saturn is bolstering you to give you a backbone to say, no, this is what I believe now, this is how I think. And perhaps how I thought in the past, I don't think that way anymore, but it could ultimately help to expand your relationship. That's the whole point of Jupiter being there anyway, right? And that expansion, at least at this point, is happening via your mindset. Imagine you're in a relationship and it's like you're introducing your partner to something new. It could literally be you introducing them to someone who is in your neighborhood. It could be you introducing them to your sibling or an extended family member, or it could be you introducing them to a new mindset, a new belief. And as much as it could be a little uncomfortable in the beginning because it may take some time for your partner, whether it's personal, right, as in like a spouse or, you know, committed partnership, or even business wise, right? This could literally be you introducing a business partner or a business partnership to something new. Maybe you guys want to purchase something in your neighborhood in a particular vicinity. And now you've got to bring that idea to your partners. And they're just like, that's not our business, or we don't do that kind of a thing. And you're just like, well, maybe it's time for us to expand. Your relationships are going under an expansion right now, and it's starting, the seed of that expansion are starting within your mind. They're starting with how you communicate, and there's a breaking of cycles here. So there's going to be this clear difference between perhaps what you thought before, how you thought before, how you spoke before, how you communicated before, and now it's going to be different. And that's a good
Mhm.
thing. And it's okay
Mhm.
if people aren't on board immediately. They will be eventually.
Yeah.
Don't allow that for you to backpedal into something else. Because guess what? The way that Pisces works, like you said, it breaks it down, it dissolves it. It's gonna be you're not gonna be able to go back to that mindset, that belief. It's not gonna be available to you anymore. And that's a good thing. It not only
Yeah.
benefits you, it probably benefits your immediate vicinity, your neighborhood, and it definitely is going to benefit your partnerships. So this should be really interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, jumping into Aquarius, what do you think about Aquarius? This is happening in the second house.
Another
Wow.
one of those houses that people love to know about, because this is your house of finances, but it's also the house of self-worth and self-esteem. And so you are entering a new cycle of abundance, probably. You are entering a new cycle where how your beliefs about money, your beliefs about yourself, your self-worth, even just your beliefs about the idea of like consumerism or something like that could really be shifting at this time. Pisces wants you to take it higher. So there is this not thinking about money in terms of, okay, this is my paycheck, this is what I get. This is about the value that you can provide to humanity and this higher consciousness when it comes to money, when it comes to value and worth. And perhaps this is highlighting the fact that, you know, as above, so below, there is a spiritual element to money that maybe perhaps you haven't been paying as much attention to as you should. And I say that because perhaps you're at a place right now where you really want to change your finances. Maybe you want to change jobs. Maybe you want to make more money. This eclipse is like, you're not going to do it in a way where, okay, let me get a better job or let me get on this latest trend. This is like, how can I create this money in the ethers and then see it in my reality? And much like you said with Capricorn, with doing the affirmations and doing all of that, that's the realm of Pisces. Pisces is about restructuring your subconscious, reprogramming your subconscious. And so, whether you want to experience a change in this area of life or not, it's going to happen because that's just the nature of eclipses. But the fact that the North Node is here is that maybe what you've been doing for money is not in alignment with your purpose, with where you're headed. So, and I'm going to hold your hand and hug you while I say this, you might lose a job. You might get laid off. That income stream may dry up. And it's not because you're not worthy. It's not because you're not doing something well enough. The universe is just redirecting you. Perhaps how you've been experiencing money is in drips, right? You know how if you have a leaky faucet, or even if you don't turn the faucet off all the way, it's just dripping, dripping, dripping. Maybe that's how your financial situation has been. And of course, because we are creatures of habit, it's like, okay, I need to hold on to this because this is all I have. But imagine the universe wants to redirect you to where the faucet is free flowing,
Mhm.
where money's not drip, drip. It's like gushing. And so maybe a door has to close for that faucet to be turned on. So, that being said, don't get scared. Listen to your intuition and allow the universe to let things flow so that new abundance can start to flow to you. What do you think?
Absolutely. I agree with everything that you just said. It was just the way that you said, like you use the metaphor of the dripping, but it's almost like in this world money comes with strings, or if it does come with strings, it's probably not for you, but money can also bring us freedom. And that's what you're known for, Aquarius. So it's like scarcity mindset deactivate. It must dissolve. You must get rid of scarcity mindset. You must get rid of thinking that you have to do more, you have to do this. Actually, you have to listen to your intuition. You have to develop a good relationship with money by developing a good relationship with how you feel about yourself. And you can gain money, or you can lose. And but whichever it is, it's more aligned to your soul's path, because like I said, money shouldn't come with strings. It shouldn't, I have to do this. I mean, it does come with something, but it doesn't come with diminishing yourself in order to get it. That's not the freedom that you stand for, Aquarius. And it's time for you to like let go of materials that maybe you have an obsession with, or maybe you just hold because it's just there. You know what I'm saying? Or you you can have this crisis when it comes to like your self-worth, or when it comes to your identity around money, or having good enough self-worth. Even when it comes to poverty, something is going to crumble, and something is going to cause you to really look deeply within yourself. And that can come through loss, or it can come through gain, but it comes through intuition. In my opinion, like you feel almost guided to make some type of finances, or let go of some type of finances, but it increases your self-worth. It increases the way that you see yourself, and the way that you envision freedom, and how monies can come to us by so many. I mean, Pisces, there's so many ways that Pisces believes that it can make money, just by standing out on the street. They understand suffering, and Pisces understands creativity. And there's so many. I mean, the etherical realm is so vast that some of us are afraid of it, or some of us can't really get in contact with it, because it's like it's just out there, as Mel kept saying, like the Pisces realm is just out there. And for you, Aquarius, you have to understand, with it being your second house, that you have to start, thinking more out there. You have to start thinking outside the box, and you know contain yourself in boxes is gonna come with someone still, telling you where you can and cannot go. Money for you comes from freedom of the mind, and also freedom to be yourself and feel good about the way that you make money. And it can, like I said, come through art. It can come through music, so many different ways. But based on your creativity, you are receiving these insights from the etherical realm, and something that no one can tell you, Aquarius. You have to let go of some materials if you need to, but let go of this obsession, like I have to do this in order to do this, and start believing that I'm being guided turn the faucet on, like Mel said, or let it keep dripping until you start understanding your own mindset around poverty, around resources, around gaining and giving, and things of that nature. So yeah, we
Yeah.
come to the line.
And I just realized that Aquarius, your ruling planet, Uranus, has just recently gone into Gemini, which is your fifth house of self expression. And so you may have these flashes of insight when it comes to how do you express yourself that will likely really contribute to how you make money. And these flashes of insight may really show you, okay, do this, do that, say that on a whim that could really help you secure the bag. It could really help you in your next money move, but it could also contribute to your sense of self because the second house also covers our self-worth and our self-esteem. And so being your unique self at this time is going to be highly beneficial to you. I mean, it always is for all of us, but I think that under this full moon, especially with your sign having just gone into your ruling planet having just gone into Gemini, being yourself is likely going to pay the bills too. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Uranus can bring so many different, sudden upheaval, like uplifts, but it's in your fifth house of dharma, of good things, of joy. Aquarius. So really find that true sense of joy and speak from it and think from it. Think from it. Most importantly, think from it, Aquarius.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. And so for Pisces, this is all going down in your sign. So
Oh,
everything about this eclipse is showing you. There will likely be this, I don't want to say come to Jesus moment, but it's going to be this everything coming full circle, sort of basking in the glory of who you have been becoming, right? Because this is a culmination of a very personal kind for you. And so seeing the fruits of your labor, the work that you've been doing on the inside, literally coming to fruition at this time. And so this could have birthed a whole new you. This could be Pisces 2.0. This could be this higher level of consciousness that now you are conscious of, right? It feels like so often we're doing the work. And a lot of times that work is internal and we don't see the fruits of it all the time. And of course, there are times where we're just like, is this even working? Am I doing this right? What's going on? And this is going to be one of those moments where the universe shows you here. This is who you've become. This is what you've been up to. This is what you're working on. So it's going to be very, very beautiful. And just big feelings, number one. This could also give you a whole new vision. Because understand, this is the wrapping up of a cycle. And now this new door is open. And not only is this new door opening, you have this higher level of consciousness. So it's like you've gained all this wisdom, you've done all this work. Now this new door is opening and you're seeing so many new possibilities, so many new things, especially with one of your ruling planets in its sign of exaltation. In Cancer, Jupiter is getting you to start planting new seeds, but these seeds are probably very different than seeds you've planted in the past. Like these are probably a lot more expansive. Perhaps they're really fueled by a lot more wisdom. Like this is going to be one of those situations where you see how much you've grown, how far you've come, and how far you can sort of soar at this new point with this new door opening. And it's going to require you to let go of certain things as well. And I'll say that at this point, you probably know better. With all of the work that you've been doing, you know that you got to let that thing go. Whether it's a person, a situation, a place, you kind of know. And if you don't know consciously, your intuition knows absolutely. And so let it go, relinquish it, swim away because it's not going to serve you in this new chapter. But literally for you, the sky is the limit. The sky's not even the limit. So don't limit yourself. This is also a time of breaking karmic patterns when it comes to how you view yourself or how you view the world, right? And even to a certain extent, how the world views you. So it's very important that you allow the universe to stretch and pull you because it's pulling you in the right direction. Number one. Number two, that old dusty mindset, it can't come with you. You're too big for that now. And when I say big, I don't mean like you're too old or you're too grown. Like you're too expansive for that now. You know too much. You know too much. And you can't play small anymore. It's your time to really step up. And the universe is going to hold your hand. The universe, it's not going to shock you, right? This isn't going to be like a cold plunge. The universe is just going to have you flow into this. And before you know it, you're standing on the mountaintop giving a sermon. You're healing people. You're changing humanity for the better. You know that's what you're here for. So allow it. I love this for you. So, what do you have to say about Pisces?
I felt like you were talking directly to me. I rising, and this everything that you said is true. It's just spot on. I mean, if like you threw a dart, it will go directly in the spot that it needs to go, and that was beautifully said. And I felt like you just took everything out of my mind. I just think that Pisces risings finally are activating their God body. I mean, God, whatever you want to call the highest force, the highest universal source, is speaking through you. It lives in you, and we know that the Pisces energy have come in this life with a lot of karma, a lot of karmic ties. A lot of um, things they have to settle. Because it's the last sign, right? But you as you grow, what Saturn had just been in your sign and it dipping back in a little, it kind of brung you this more substantial outlook on life where you're finally putting yourself first. And it's okay to let go of things that don't make sense anymore, or people, places, and things that don't make sense. This is collapsing a part of you that you thought that you were, but you knew that you actually weren't, but you were just putting on these masks and putting on these shows for other people in order to fit into the world. You don't fit into this world because you are the world. The world is living through you. And you have to let go of what you thought that you were and where you thought you wanted to go, because ultimately, like subconsciously, consciously, all these things, what the direction that you're supposed to get going. It's just hard to grasp. It's hard to grasp right now. It's hard to grasp 5 years from now, but you're made for something bigger. So this is Pisces shedding this your skin. You're shedding your skin emotionally, physically, spiritually, but you are the spiritual guide that the world needs, whether it knows it or not. Ending the age of Pisces, you finally have to be Pisces now. You have to be the mermaid, the mystic, the fish, the magician, all of the things all in one that people can't fathom, but you can, Pisces, because you've dwelled in the unseen realm. You understand there are inner forces and bigger forces at play. So there's ego deaths that happen. There's this emotional release that happens. And, as you said, I don't think this is a punch to the gut or like a slap in the face. I just think that there is this appearance that comes through you or from you, and your life, it changes, drastically. And if you don't let it, Pisces is going to be dramatically, because you can't. There is no retreat. There's no going back. There's nothing else behind you, and you truly have to embody who you are and show up as the world. Like, you are mirroring the world, Pisces. And though, when you pull the world in the tarot card, even the tarot card, the moon, it's almost like you can't hide in memories. You can't hide in things that have happened in past lives. You have to be okay with being yourself. You cannot live in guilt, and you can't live in shame. You truly have to show up as God, and in the Bible and things of that nature, and all the things that have happened that were negative. There were also positive things that happened that made them become who they are. And you have to see yourself as that. And you truly have to move forward with being honest about who you are and showing up as who you are, because whether you know it or not, a lot of people, depend on you. Even the whole zodiac depend on you, because you're showing others how to freely move and embody their divinity. And that's the most important aspect of your life, Pisces. Like, this is truly a critical moment and turning point of your life and where it's headed. And it can head towards the up, where it actually is supposed to go with the North Node in your sign, or you can find yourself entangled with things that never mattered, and that's not even going to happen because your life is going to change drastically whether you want to or not. Just let it happen. Jupiter being in your fifth house in Cancer, um this is you awakening that creativity that's within you. I mean, it's already there, but you have to be able to put it into words that people understand. And you've been through a lot of things and you've seen a lot of things, and now it's time for you to express it well and be the happy place, or the happy magician that you need to be and that you want to be. Even Leo being in the, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but Leo just naturally ruling over the sixth house. You're meant to shine um that light of the magician, the whole zodiac, not the whole zodiac, the whole the tarot deck. You're just meant to play cards. You're meant to play the card in the game of life. And you're meant to lead others, Pisces. Like, I mean, I can go on for this for a long time. There's so many things that um, many Pisces can experience, whether you're sun, moon, or rising. But the rising sign, obviously, this is going to happen in many areas of your life, but it's changing you for the better. So be happy for it. Embody your divinity. That's the best advice that I can get. That I can give.
That's perfect. That was so well said. And I can tell you're a Pisces rising because you I felt that from you.
I'm happy.
All right. So I guess that's pretty much it. So any sort of closing thoughts or advice that people should know when it comes to this upcoming eclipse in Pisces, lunar eclipse in Pisces?
Well, um, hmm. What do I want to say? The last thing that I would say, I mean, this eclipse is just extremely important. So it's almost like we can't really prepare for it, but we can. I don't want to keep using the word surrender to it, right? But we could just do nothing but hope for the best. So we truly have to have faith within ourselves, within the bigger plan of life, and within our own mystical forces. We have to have faith in ourselves. I think that's the most important thing that I would say, is having faith in yourself, and um, really going down the healing path, and not looking back. I mean, there is no looking back, but you have to embrace the future. You have to embrace growth. You have to embrace, um, you just have to embrace yourself, and you have to embrace your truest self. Or there's a lot of things that can, a lot of things can hold you back in this life. And in my opinion, like anything, the lunar eclipse and in the North Node in Pisces, you can't hold yourself back anymore. You have to live a life like you're alive in this lifetime. So act like it.
Mm.
Yeah. It.
Yes, exactly. I think what I'll say in closing is sort of reiterating what you said, and it's like there kind of is no going back, right? Pisces is that last sign, and this is a cycle that's ending, that it's a door that's closing that won't be reopened. And where faith comes in is that understanding that what you're walking into, the doorway that you're walking through will be better than what you left behind, right? And there's so much with the South Node simultaneously being in Virgo. We want proof of everything. We kind of want the assurance to move forward, knowing that things are going to be great. That's the only reason why we're going to move forward. Or we need things to be perfect before we take action. And Spirit is saying, just trust me. Trust me. I'll hold your hand. I'll guide you. I'll give you all the signs, the angel numbers, the pennies, the feathers. I will give you everything. You don't need proof that you can touch, that you can feel. This is bigger than you. And what you're leaving behind needs to be left behind. It's not, you don't need it where you're going. And not to, when we transition, we don't bring any of these things with us, right? These tangible things, they don't come with us. And
Mm-hmm.
this isn't to say that, well, to a certain extent, there probably is a part of us that is transitioning right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of what we have, what we've clung to, what we've perfectly curated, it can't come with us because it's not necessary. Where we're going, this is like going to the promised land, especially
Mm-hmm.
because the North Node is here. It's taking
Yeah.
you to wherever you've wanted to go. If you've dreamt of going to Hawaii, this is like the universe saying, pack your bags, we're going to Hawaii. But guess what? You don't need those snow boots. You don't need that big coat because it's not necessary. So get
Mm-hmm.
on the plane, just go. And like you said, surrender. Surrender. You have a safety net.
Yeah.
And you know more than you think that you do. Even if it's not up here, it's in here. So let spirit shine a light on that, close whatever doors need to be closed, and flow into this new cycle of life. All right.
Absolutely.
So I'm so glad that we were able to do this because I love your insight. I love the wisdom that you've provided for this. And it's always great to be able to collaborate with other great astrologers because it's like the energy of the back and forth. Like I feel like it feels good, at least to me. And I know that the people that are watching will definitely benefit from all of this information. So I'm so thankful that we were able to do this together. And yeah.
I'm so happy too. I'm so thankful. And no, I always watch your channel, and this is just something that I felt like we had to do together. And I'm so happy that we made it happen because this can benefit many, as you said, um, and it's gonna come to them at the right moment. Like you click on this video, I promise you that this is a message from the universe, and you don't need the crystals. You don't need 111 and 333 at every corner. You just need someone to tell you how it is, like it is, and just believe in yourself. So I'm so happy to do this video with you, Mel.
All right. And so I guess that concludes this video. So you may see us in another one, hopefully.
Yes, hope. Bye.
Bye.